Hello and welcome to Talking Kid vs. Cat Episode 2. I'm your host, Mr. Demon Cat, and this is a podcast about all things Kid vs. Cat animated series related. This time we're ranking the most iconic, weird, and controversial Kid vs. Cat ships. This is ranking Kid vs. Cat ships, and here it is. For those of you listening in the background, the thumbnail I made shows the ranking tiers list template, plus CB and Mr. Cat being featured in this picture I showed. I also began visiting a website where you can rank anything in the list called tiermaker.com. Alright, before we start, let me lay down some ground rules. This list is based on 3 things. Number 1, canon interactions. 2, fan popularity. And 3, some plain old vibes. Cat is an alien, but we might keep it respectful and lighthearted. Let's go! First, an honorable mention. This did not make the top list, but deserves a shout out. Mr. Cat and fishy frisky food. I mean, have you seen how he devours those cats? True love. Mr. Cat loves having fishy frisky foods at home. And now, moving on to some popular Kid vs. Cat ships I saw online. People before one made the top list, and I already saw them on YouTube. Here we go! First up, my number 1 favorite Kid vs. Cat ship is... Drumroll, please! Coop and Dennis Chad! A couple boys I first saw on the show. They first met each other in the Night of the Zombie Cat episode. The part where Coop and Dennis are at the playground outside also saw their worst friends making fun of them. Coop and Dennis also began having fun with each other together at home, outside, etc. They've done it during daytime hours, when they got home after school, or during lunchtime. They even helped each other learn how to stop Mr. Cat, who acts like an alien, in other Kid vs. Cat episodes I watched. Between the kids and the cat, Coop and Dennis sometimes also become young superheroes to try and end Mr. Cat's chances of ruining them. Coop also tells Dennis to come to his house before seeing Dennis go inside Coop's house. As they continue to figure out a way to win against the alien or cat, they also watch live sporting events on TV. They even practice controlling their own destinies, plus also learning how to do good at school grades when they're not at home. Even without their dads, Coop and Dennis sometimes also live for their fathers when they greet each other. They've also gone outside in the dark without getting in trouble, even during nighttime hours. And maybe they've gone inside the treehouse, where Coop and Dennis are not inside the house, but also having fun together in the treehouse. From best friends to young superheroes, Dennis Chan, however, is still CB's best friend, and he appeared the most in seasons 1 and 2. His interests on CB are canon and amazing. Well, Coop and Dennis still survives Mr. Cat as Mr. Cat starts losing power, and they continue to feel excited about Mr. Cat's actions ending. So, what am I gonna rank Coop and Dennis? I'm putting my number 1 favorite Kid vs. Cat ship, Coop and Dennis, into the best tier list. On to the next one we go! I'm going to do Coop and Phoebe next. Let's be honest, Phoebe's crush on Coop is canon and hilarious. She's obsessed, and Coop, he's mostly just trying to survive Cat, but still, there's potential here if Coop ever stops dodging her like Cat dodges responsively. In other Kid vs. Cat episodes, I saw Phoebe meet Coop, delivering him something he saw outside, like letter or birthday party invitation, etc. I even saw Coop go to Phoebe's birthday party multiple times by seeing him enter a new portal or a new universe. And don't get me wrong, I don't know how many times Coop has gone into houses using their portals. He's done it over and over again, and now I also saw Coop exit Phoebe's birthday party by going back outside. Coop did not want to be with Phoebe anymore, but at least he's back to being with his best friend, Dennis. In Season 3 of Kid vs. Cat, the same characters I also saw earlier in Season 1, they met each other yet again. This time they also went to a bowling place for Coop's birthday. Coop and Phoebe also met Fiona, and Coop helped Fiona stop Phoebe in the birthday bashed episode. Coop also went on to be with her girlfriend, Fiona Munson. Phoebe also saw Coop and Fiona being together, then later escaped bowling. How crazy! Unbelievable, and I almost forgot that Phoebe sometimes bothers Coop. Speaking of Phoebe, she does not like Coop and Fiona being with each other. She would rather be with Phoebe. Phoebe never respects Phoebe's feelings, and then later explains why Phoebe does not like Phoebe. Phoebe thinks of falling in love with— oh my goodness gracious! Phoebe also refused to leave Coop alone! But sometime later, after Kid vs. Kat ending, Coop and Phoebe are officially a couple. So, what am I gonna rank Coop and Phoebe? I'm putting Coop and Phoebe into the worst tier list. On to the next one. This time I'm also doing Coop and Fiona.
I don't know, Dad. Doesn't look evil enough to be Old Lady Munson.
Thanks. You don't look so evil yourself.
What did Coop see in the beginning of Kid vs. Kat Season 2? Fiona! She began seeing Coop using her eyes. Plus, Coop also saw her eyes. Fiona began meeting Coop in the Something About Fiona episode. Wow, look what Coop found. He found his new girlfriend. And now, this is the one that had Kid vs. Kat fans buzzing. Fiona is cool, she's smart in my opinion, and she actually gets him. When Fiona shows up, Coop suddenly has a brain and a shot at being a normal human being. Peak early 2000s teen romance vibe. After greeting each other, Coop and Fiona also began living in a place to skateboard, and they both learned how to skateboard. This one had chemistry, character growth, and actual mutual interest. Fiona wasn't just a background crush, she helped CB on missions and stood up to Kat. At the end of the Something About Fiona episode, Coop and Fiona saved the entire world that night. Later in the morning, Coop also saw Fiona go somewhere else, and not have Fiona see him again, which is pretty sad. In other episodes featuring Fiona, Coop met her again. This time, what else did they do? In the Never Quiet Sheep episode, I saw Fiona and Coop talking on the phone with each other, not knowing when they will greet each other in person again. As Fiona stays with her great-great-great-great-great-aunt, she continues talking to Coop on the phone. She also appeared yet again in the Cat of Diamonds episode. Fiona also made a voicemail to Coop. When Coop tried calling her, Fiona never responded. Coop and Fiona also began playing soccer together, which is a pretty good activity for them to do, instead of being at home doing nothing. Both Fiona and Coop also had a crush on each other. Their love interests on each other were great. About 10 years later, after the show's end, Coop and Fiona resumed being without Old Lady Munson, which Fiona's aunt does not allow. Coop and Fiona also became grown-ups, as Old Lady Munson continues to be in jail. So, where am I gonna put Coop and Fiona? I'm putting it in the good tier list. And now, moving on to other Kid vs. Kat ships that do not feature Coop. I'm gonna do Millie and Mr. Cat next.
Oh, Mr. Cat! Poor kitty. Did my mean, nasty brother scare you?
Earlier in the beginning of Kid vs. Kat Season 1, Millie first met Kat. She adopted Kat in the Let the Games Begin episode. They began being together earlier in the first episode, and they also appeared in all of Seasons 1 and 2. Millie also began having fun with Kat, which is pretty much a fun activity for them to do when not at school. She even began carrying Kat, which is also nice. Whenever Kat becomes weak after losing to Coop, what causes Millie to take Kat back home is Millie seeing Coop stopping Kat. Millie even started taking care of Kat at home, but Kat sometimes does not like being with Millie. I even saw Millie hugging Kat before seeing her trying to fix Kat's issues. As Millie continues carrying Kat, she also checks on what Kat did. Millie also became Kat's owner and is one of the causes of the event in Kid vs. Kat. She also appears to be falling in love with Kat, no matter how good or bad they did. Millie appreciates his dad, Burt, for allowing an alien or animal to be at home. However, if Kat continues feeling upset about Coop and Millie, Kat may not be able to be with Coop. As Millie continues being with Kat at home, she also began watching girl shows on TV with Kat. They even learned how to play games and also win games at home. The Millie and Mr. Cat one I showed made some Kid vs. Kat fans smile at them. Basically what Millie does is preventing Kat from being with Coop and his father at home, then later bring Kat to her room and go to bed with Kat during nighttime hours. Millie sometimes also reads bedtime stories with Kat before going to bed at night. As Millie becomes an adult later in the future, she no longer sees Kat, and now she has to find a new cat for her to live with. What am I gonna put Millie and Mr. Cat? I'm putting it in the OK tier list. Let's keep going. But first, some more honorable mentions. Mr. Cat and Destruction. Let's face it, Cat's true love isn't Millie. It's world domination, laser beams, and stealing Coop's peace of mind. Cat and Chaos is eternal. This alien came to Earth and made it his toxic playground. And you know what? We love that for him. Fiona and Kyle. This is the only Kid vs. Cat ship I have also not seen at all at the moment, and it also did not make it into the top list. I saw someone make their own Kid vs. Cat shipping one in the community tab. Fiona and Kyle is the least popular one. Well, he or she thinks that Kyle is Fiona's second boyfriend at the moment. They even met each other before skateboarding outside. I'm giving credit to someone who posted this online. And now time for me to like more on Toolmaker. I will do Coop and Millie next. Coop and Millie first met each other after they were born, and also met his father Burt and old lady Munson. But here's what they did in Bootsville. Coop and Millie started being together with each other and his dad at home. But once they greeted each other again, there's something I saw in Kid vs. Cat that shocked me. The part where Coop and Millie began being upset at each other, then later made his dad come here, has shocked me. Millie is Coop's young sister, and Coop is Millie's older brother. But here's what I also saw Millie doing to Coop. Millie began annoying Coop, and some Kid vs. Cat fans were not happy about them being with each other at home. However, Millie also appreciates when she hangs out with Coop. As long as they stay out of trouble, they even resume behaving. As Coop and Millie also greet old lady Munson, Millie was nice to her, but old lady Munson always yells at Coop. As Coop and Millie also resume becoming friends again, they begin making a new song for Cat to listen to, but Cat does not like it when they make loud noises. Look, we're getting sick and tired of Coop and Millie being featured in most Kid vs. Cat episodes, but what I also saw in that show is the part where Coop ruined something that Millie made in the One Big Happy Family episode has also shocked me. Is Coop no longer friends with Millie? Not yet, but he should have apologized to Millie. You know, Millie is not Coop's girlfriend. She's still her old brother, and I do not understand why Coop and Millie are misbehaving. Coop didn't need to tease Millie, but both Coop and Millie resumed learning how to not get in trouble with his dad. But in the Cats the Future episode I also watched, both Coop and Millie even began learning how to do the training. As they continued to be with his family, Coop was in her soccer uniform, and Millie was in her green uniform. Did they practice karate stuff? Maybe. Even though Millie is a little annoying to Coop, they both took care of other aliens invading Bootsville, like the ones they saw up in the sky, blah blah blah. There were also futuristic vehicles that Coop and Millie saw outside in the Cats the Future episode, and their friends and family got inside them. Both Coop and Millie completed the training. As they go back to being with each other, Coop and Millie also did a pretty good job at stopping aliens. And since I also saw people post their opinions on Coop and Millie, and what Millie did to Coop, while sometimes being annoying to him, some of you like Coop, some of you did not like Millie, but I'm putting Coop and Millie in the bad tier list, because Coop and Millie are not really best friends with each other. I apologize for all the things I said about Coop and Millie, but even though Kid vs. Cat is my number 4 favorite show, if there are no other Kid vs. Cat ships I found online, then I will do Coop and Dennis's dads next.
My son is twice the golfer you are, and he's never held a club in his life!
Well, why don't we let the boys play and see whose coaching is best?
This is Burt and Henry. Burt is Coop's father, and Henry is Dennis's father. Burt has a Canadian-American accent, and Henry has an Asian accent. Henry also looks like an Asian man, and he has a son named Dennis, and they have the same skin tone I saw earlier in the T-Dog episode. Meanwhile, Burt has a different skin tone I also saw. Getting back to what I said about Burt and Henry began arguing with each other while being away from Coop and Dennis. Coop and Dennis also saw their dads complaining about them having arguments. As Burt and Henry meet each other, they also began having fun going to someplace that their sons like. While in the middle of somewhere, Burt and Henry also caused a lot of problems outside. They also could not figure out a way to stop arguing, as they also resumed yelling outside, playing games with each other, like being at the golf club where men practice playing golf, the House of Swap where people buy used items, and they even went fishing in the park outside. They even made their sons stay away from their dads in the T-Dove episode. Very disappointing. Burt and Henry did not even learn how to behave with their kids either. As they partially run out of control, it never ends. Coop went back to being with Burt, and Dennis went back to being with Henry at their homes after their argument ended. I'm putting Burt and Henry in the bad tier list, since I already saw them argue earlier in Kid vs. Kat. And last but not least, I'm doing Millie and Dennis. After having Dennis become best friends with Coop, Dennis also began meeting Millie. As they lived together, Dennis saw Millie draw something good on paper. Honestly, I don't really see Millie and Dennis being together much in the show, but a best friend being the little sister is kind of beautiful, in my opinion. I also saw Millie trying to make Dennis become a girl, and a lot of boys do not like it when girls make boys become girls. Millie and Dennis screening each other is expected. However, if Dennis wants to be with Coop instead, I will go with Coop and Dennis. I'm putting Millie and Dennis in the OK tier list. Did you find any other Kid vs. Kat shippings I didn't see yet? What's your favorite Kid vs. Kat ship of all time? Leave your comments down below. That'll do it for today. Like, share, subscribe. Also follow Talking Kid vs. Kat on Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, etc. Again, I'm Mr. Demon Cat, and I thank you for watching. See you later.